Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm out in the front yard garden again, and I found what I was looking for trimming out the front edge of this bed here next to the Crimson Spire Oak. I'm going to be planting drift roses. Now these guys have been around for a long time, but in my opinion, I've grown them for years, and in my opinion, I find them to be the best ground cover roses out there. They are nonstop flowers. They disease resistant, so hardy, their own root, hardy from zones 4 to 11. So they're just the perfect choice for a front of the border trim on this space here. So first let's talk a little bit about the drift rose. So there are several in this series. These are from Star Roses and Plants. And Star Roses partnered with French rose breeder Mayland back in the 90s, and they introduced their line of drift roses sometime around maybe it was 2005, 2006. And they've been around for a long time, and this oldie is a goodie. I mean, it's when you find something that works really well in your landscape. I mean, I've got heavy clay soil, I've got a cold climate, I'm a zone 5B, 6A, and these guys just keep going for it every year. I don't have to do anything. I fertilize them at the beginning of the season, wish them well. I don't have drip, so they're not, not watered regularly. They're watered by Mother Nature, and these guys just keep performing. Like I said, disease resistant, just easy to grow, constantly in color. You don't have to deadhead them. You can, I do if I remember to, but they're still gonna keep flowering, and they flush out new buds like every 4 weeks or so. So beginning in late spring, right up until frost, they are flowering. So let me take you to another part of the garden and show you what they look like. Not the most impressive display at the moment, but it's covered in buds. I mean, the flowers are so perfect. They're lightly fragrant, pollinator friendly. This particular variety, my favorite of the drift series is Apricot Drift. And in my experience, I used to work for a grower, for a nursery, and we had all the colors. So having had that experience and being able to observe all the different colors, I found that Apricot Drift was the most robust and just the most floriferous, and so I fell in love with it. So I've got 3 planted here, and they're just always in flower. So there's tons of buds on them. Even now, we're in October, and it's still flowering. So I love the flowering habit of it. I love how low maintenance drift roses are, and I love the growth habit. So when I'm planting these, I'm going to be doing them about 2.5 feet apart on center. So this particular variety gets to be about 1.5 feet tall and about 2.5 feet wide. I am going to plant them at that 2.5 foot distance, so from center to center of each plant. And what I like about drift roses is they have an upright, they're ground cover roses, but they have this beautiful vase shape, which means if you have a really good location, a lot of sun, which is what these want, full sun, at least 6 hours of sun, 6 to 8. They've got that vase shape, which means I can underplant with something else. And I'm thinking maybe some Helen von Stein Landseer maybe, or maybe some Angelina sedum, something sun-loving that would be a beautiful fill around this, because it kind of allows for that with the way these things grow. So it's just a perfect plant, disease resistant, easy to grow, and I'm all about easy. I want things that are going to perform with as little effort from me, and like I mentioned, I don't have drip, so these are healthy looking plants, and then just super easy, and I'm all for easy. So what I need to do is dig these 3 guys out, because these are going to be combined over here. Let's go back over here. Ooh. So here's what I'm thinking. So right now I've got this geranium macrorhizum, and I showed you how to divide that in a video a couple weeks ago, but I need to dig all of this out. And then I've got the 4 drift roses I picked up from a nursery yesterday, and I'm going to space them around about 2.5 feet apart. And I'm going to put them maybe about 18 inches from the edge of the bed, because they get to be about 2.5 feet wide. So I want to make sure I'm allowing enough room so it's not growing over too far into the grass. So spacing them about 2.5 feet apart. And then I'm also going to put back here, I've got that Prairie Princess Vernonia that I got from Proven Winners when I was out there for their Connect and Create event a few months ago. So these are going to go in the back, and I need to think about what I'm going to do with, this is Ruby Slipper's Oak Leaf Hydrangea. This is just going to get blistered by sun. This is a really hot spot here. So I'm going to leave this for right now, but this will probably be moved next year, and I'll find something that can handle this exposure. Hopefully this view gives you a better idea of the growth habit of these guys. So when I say vase shaped, they're more upright. They're not going to be like the spilling out, sprawling rows, and at about 1.5 feet tall, they're just such a perfect ground cover rose. But what I love about it is the opportunity it gives me to create a layered effect. So you can see there's all this space in here because the branches are growing up. So I can underplant with something beautiful and textural. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be, so if you have suggestions, I'm kind of leaning toward lamb's ear, another very easy sun-loving plant that would pair well with this. But I just love the growth habit of these guys, and it's only about 18 inches tall and about 2.5 feet wide. It's perfect. So the drift roses, I've already kind of started to space them, and I like to put them in place, and then I'll put a stake down just to make sure I've got my distance right and come all the way around. So I've got 7 plants total. Now, as far as determining how many you need for a site, I simple tape measure, and you can plant them as close as 2 feet, or I went with 2.5 feet. You could even go, I mean, really you could space them as far apart as you want. You can place them as a singular plant in a mixed border. It's entirely up to you. But for this design, I'm planting them at 2.5 feet to allow a little bit of wiggle room so that I can move in or put in another ground cover and create a layered effect that will build up to the oak tree. And all that entails is a simple tape measure, and I set it at 30 inches, so I've got it at 2.5 feet apart. And then I just come in and kind of eyeball it. I've got the oak leaf hydrangea here, and I know my first one's gonna go here, so it'll go about right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm gonna space them about 1.5 feet away from, we got Halloween decorations here too that I need to lift. I'm gonna put them about 1.5 feet in from the grass border. So I'm allowing for growth in all directions. And the first thing I need to do though is clear away the rest of this geranium macrorrhizum. So I might as well tell you this while I'm pulling out the geranium here, which by the way is incredibly easy to take out. But when I'm talking about layering, I'm thinking about the mature height of the plants that I'm putting in place so that I understand what the placement should be. So the shortest growing plants in the front, building up to the tallest plants. So in this case, the drift roses are about 18 inches tall, give or take. And then if I underplant it with some Helen von Stein stackies or big ears lamb's ear, then that's about 6 inches tall. So I've already started the build up to the crimson spire oak. And then toward the back will be that Vernonia, so that's even taller. But what I need to think about is what's going to go around the tree. And I have some ideas about that too. And I'm thinking that around the tree, I'll be putting in some Amsonia, some blue star. And when I'm thinking about that too, I'm also thinking about what these plants are going to look like throughout the seasons. And for one, the drift roses bloom constantly in the growing season, straight up till frost. And I love the color change of the apricot drift roses. A lot of roses, when the colder temperatures set in, they will start to change in color. Their colors will deepen. These definitely do that. They're lighter colored in the spring, and then as it gets cooler at night and through the day, the roses just take on this much deeper color. So just gorgeous. And then I thought if I did the Amsonia, gets the blue flower, or the threadleaf Amsonia, it gets the blue flower in the springtime, and then it has this beautiful texture of the threadleaf leaves on it, and then the fall color is spectacular, guys. It's like just a golden, orangey golden color. So when I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking about the layers, how tall they grow, and the Amsonia gets to be about, I think, 3 feet tall. So I think that would be a really nice progression, and the interest all throughout the growing season, straight up to frost, should be phenomenal. But I mean, it's could change, who knows. As I think about it through the winter time, I'm not gonna put anything around it after I do the drift roses right now until next spring. So if you have any ideas about, suggestions about what you think would be great as a multi-season interest plant, definitely drop it in the comments. I'd love to know what you think. Well, this space looks so much bigger with the geranium gone. This is the geranium macrorrhizum. I've got a lot of it. So this will go out by the curb. I'll let my neighbors know and they can come and take what they want. So now all that's left to do is place the roses back where I had them. And then before I dig up the roses in the other part of the garden, I want to pre-dig those holes so that they spend as little time exposed to the air as possible. I really want to get them in place quick. So first, let me just lay out what I have here. all I'm doing here is measuring center to center of each plant. So I'm making that about 30 inches, so 2.5 feet. I like the placement of all these guys. Oh, am I muddy? I've got the 4 in cans here, and then I also used 3 bamboo poles that I spaced 30 inches apart, just like I did with the canned roses. And I dropped them about 18 inches in from the grass line. So it gives plenty of room for the plants, the roses, to grow out and without overgrowing the grass too much. So I have these as place markers, and I will dig those holes first before I go and dig out the ones that I'm transplanting, so that they spend as little time as possible exposed to the air. But first I'm going to start with the ones in the cans. So the nice thing about drift roses is you don't have to worry about the bud union or the graft, because there is no bud union. These are own root roses, so that's what gives them their cold hardiness too. They're hardy to zone 4. So you plant them at the same depth they are in the can, and then like anything else, you want to plant them, you know, a $5 plant in a $50 hole. So dig the hole about twice the diameter as it is in the can, just to give it plenty of loosened soil for those roots to grow into. And as far as amending the hole, I always add compost, especially for roses, a couple shovels full. And I don't worry, at this time, I don't worry in the fall about adding fertilizer or anything like that. I will fertilize these in late winter, early spring, when I go in and fertilize the rest of my roses and my hydrangeas with some rose fertilizer. So right now it's just about getting them in place and watering them in. And at this time of the season in the fall, sometimes the plants that you find are plants that have been sitting around in a nursery for the entire season. So they might be root bound. You might see, like this one here, you might see roots growing out of the bottom of your container. That's an indicator that it's pretty loaded with roots. And when you go in and have a look at it, get out of here first. So this isn't so bad, but if you happen to see girdling, which is roots wrapping around the outermost portion of the root ball, you want to get in there and loosen them up gently, kind of pull them apart, because you want to train them to grow out into the soil and not continuing that girdling pattern, because it can choke itself out. So this doesn't look so bad. I'll just come in and kind of loosen up the bottom of the root ball here. But for the most part, this is looking pretty healthy. And finally, these last 3 holes, I'm going to pre-dig those before I go and dig the ones I'm transplanting, so that they spend as little time as possible exposed to the air. And now for these final 3. So I'm going to throw in my rose gloves for this. These guys are pretty prickly too. So these have been in here for about 3 years. So they're going to have a good root system. I'm going to try to give it as big a root ball as I can. We'll see how easily these come out. See what I mean by how beautiful that foliage is? It's kind of, the tips have kind of a reddish tint to them as well, and it's just a lovely plant. All right, you guys, I got them all in place, and I know I'm shooting into the sun, and I don't know if you can see this very well, but I'm already visualizing what this is going to look like. This is going to be beautiful, and all those apricot colored roses, and then the crimson spire oak. I didn't get the vernonias in today. My knee can't take much more. So I think this is going to be gorgeous. And then I'm visualizing what this is going to look like. So I'll have the apricot drift roses here. And then I've got the flowerful hydrangeas around the arborvitae. So imagine when all of that fills in, how gorgeous is that going to be? It's going to be beautiful. But this is where I need your help. What do you think should go in this space here? Now remember, I like something with multi-season interest, which is why earlier in the video I said Amsonia. It's got the blue spring flowers, the thread leaf, which is, I love that texture, so it would be kind of wispy in the wind, and the fall color is that gorgeous golden color. So I thought that would look like fire here. And the Vernonia, that's the Prairie Princess. There's just so much great fall color here. The oak leaf hydrangea, if it can take it, I don't know how well it's going to be able to withstand that direct sun. I mean, I don't know, we'll see. I'm thinking I'm going to have to relocate it. But I would love to know what you think. So drop in the comments what suggestions you have for this very full sun space that, a plant that would have multi-season interest. And Amsonia is a native as well, so there's that too. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you want more information on drift roses, I'll link to them, Star Roses and Plants, in the description, so you can check them out and see the entire color palette that's available. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe. I'd love to have you here, and hit that little bell, and that way you never miss a video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I got to get after watering all this, get everything nice and soaked, and mulch it eventually. And I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Wait, don't go yet. I forgot to tell you something. If you're a container gardener, you can grow drift roses in containers as well, provided you keep in mind that 2-zone wiggle room if you need to overwinter them. So I'm a zone 5B, 6A. I pretty much consider myself a 5B. But if I wanted to put these in a container, I'd want to keep them in a protected site. So let's say you're a zone 7. Your plants should overwinter in containers as long as they're hardy to zone 5 or lower, zone 4, zone 3. This, for me, I would want to, if I'm going to do a container for zone 5B, 6A, I'm going to want to put these in a more protected location if I'm doing containers. So you've got that option too. And if you're going to do a container, do drift roses in containers, pick a container that's a few inches bigger in diameter than the container that it's currently growing in, so it allows the plant to expand out, grow the root system into fresh soil, and you've got drift roses for your container garden as well. So all right, that's all I wanted to tell you. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See ya.